Hello and welcome everybody to All the Rage Sports. As you can see, it's me and Jace today. Andy is kind of on sabbaticals for a little while with a lot of his new job and stuff. So hopefully we'll be able to get him on here a few more weeks from now. But as right now, it's going to be the Jesse and Jace show, the
Yeah,
JJs.
sorry to fucking disappoint everybody.
Yeah, yeah,
This
everybody's
is
really
this is officially a two-man rodeo for the foreseeable future.
yes. So
Wish I could say I miss Andy, but I don't. So there we go.
and I think he would probably say the same if you were missing. So
I can tell you, he probably doesn't miss me in this very moment.
it's true.
We're even.
All right, so obviously we're starting a little late this week due to all the changes, but we're going to go back. We're going to break down some of the week 3 matchups, talk about some of the highlights that came from it, and then also, of course, go into our week 4. We got things like the Bears and their crazy comeback with Nick Foles coming in and taking over for Trubisky. We got that Monday night game between that Monday night game between the Ravens and the Chiefs. That was absolutely nuts. Not so nuts if you were a Chiefs fan. You were just pretty well standard.
I threw $100 on the over, and I was so happy.
So there was that. And then, obviously, we got big news with the Tennessee Titans and the Steelers, the Titans with all their COVID stuff. And then we'll kind of dig into that and what we see in the future of the NFL right now, because this is the first instance that this happened. So who knows if this is going to be the last instance. There's going to be some pretty drastic changes in the schedule due to this. So hopefully everybody starts buckling down. And then obviously I want to talk about Josh Allen, because Josh Allen is like my favorite person in the world right now.
Oh, trust me, I would love to talk about Josh Allen. You want to know why I want to talk about Josh Allen?
Because somebody was smart enough to draft Josh Allen.
in three of 3 fantasy leagues this year, I took fucking Josh Allen. I saw this coming, and oh my god, is it glorious.
Josh Allen is playing at fucking MVP form right now.
Easily the best Bills quarterback you can say since Jim Kelly.
Yeah.
Like
I honestly, I knew there was good things coming from this kid, but I did not think this good.
John Elway is somewhere just punching the fucking air.
Just freaking
He's
out.
Like, God damn it, he's furious.
It was right up John Elway's alley too, because he was 6'5" and the big dude,
all white and has a cannon for an arm. Yeah. I mean, that's Elway's fucking wheelhouse right there.
That's right.
And as we'll discuss at some point, Elway still managed to take Brett Rippon to the fucking Meadowlands and beat the Jets.
Yes. So we'll also touch on Thursday night's game and how the Jets,
which I will say, all the memes everybody made, everybody was like, this is going to be a dumpster fire. That was actually a pretty good game.
Yeah, it was pretty good. And Darnold showed some grit. He got knocked out and then came back in. But god damn, I feel so bad for him. He's essentially Mark Sanchez 2.0 right now.
He may as well be Josh Rosen after this year. That's what he's going to be.
Well, they should probably sign Josh Rosen at this point, because
they've signed every fucking running back. I felt so bad. Did you see the fucking screen of Frank Gore just looking so sad?
Oh my god! I feel so bad for the guy, because the guy deserves so much. He's a fucking monster. And he's third on the list right now?
They should cut him and let him sign with a Super Bowl contender is what they should do.
Yeah, let him sign with the Bills.
That is a trivia question I feel like a lot of people would get wrong. That because it's Emmett and then
Walter Payton.
Yeah, Sweetness, and then
Frank Gore. Right? 16 seasons he has over 15,000 rushing yards.
He's one of those guys where he's like, he was never like the big flashy guy, but you look and he usually had like 120 yards, but you could literally hand him the ball 30 times and he would just fucking run right through.
He's a little bowling ball, man, and he just won't. I don't understand how he's 37, I believe. I don't understand how he's still doing it.
Him and AP both. It's like running backs, like they're like, oh, they're like used cars. They you get some mileage on them, and then they're useless. These guys have taken a fucking
And you know what?
beating.
AP has had moments in his career with injuries. Fred Gore really hasn't had a ton of injuries. AP has. He's
Yeah,
had an
AP.
ACL. He's had there was another ligament, I think, in his other leg. I
I
want to
know he had
say
a knee. I want to say
a
hip, but I know
groin,
that's not
maybe.
right. God, how old are we? How long ago does it feel like the Adrian Peterson Vikings were?
Yeah, right. And the season he came back after that ACL and just blew the fucking league up, almost broke the single season rushing record.
Until who was it? Leslie Frazier, I think. I don't know how I remembered that name.
Yep.
Fucking literally didn't let him. I think they were going to lose. They weren't even going to make the playoffs. They were going to lose that game, or they were going to win it handily. And all they had to do was give him the ball like 2 more times for the record. And he's like,
Nah, no, we're good.
"Nah,
What a
you just stay
fucking
on the
dick.
sideline." What a fucking asshole!
All right, well, we're gonna have all this and more on All the Rage Sports.
We're talking about the 2007 Adrian Peterson,
that's how we start this show.
Frank Gore with the 49ers from forever ago, and how Leslie Frazier's a fucking dickhead.
That's how we start the show.
And
All right.
I will do this one because I do feel like this one is cold from the beginning of the show. I woke up this morning to take a piss at 3 a.m, and the two most ridiculous things I've ever seen on my phone back to back was President Trump and the First Lady had COVID, and the Jets weren't going to fire Adam Gase after that Thursday night game. Oh,
I don't know which one's more surprising.
I mean, I don't want to say like the Trump thing was pretty surprising, but like the Gase thing, like the Trump thing, you would have never seen coming. Gase was like, you would have
The writing's on the
certainly
wall.
like as soon as I laid my head down, I was like, he's going to be out of a job in the morning. And they immediately, before like I could even complete my sleep cycle, the Jets fucking brass had come out and they're like, we are going to keep him. There is going to be no move from the head coaching position at this time. It's like, so that means if you're up this late, you stayed up to watch that whole fucking game. You watched that shit show. You watched that fucking dumpster fire, and you're like, he's our guy.
No,
we're rolling with that guy.
We're rolling with him.
Jet's gonna jet.
Yeah, Jets are. I'm gonna say it. Jets are taking over the spot that the Browns held so dearly of the most horribly ran franchise.
I think even with you can thank God the Raiders aren't mentioned in that anymore.
Yes, true.
It's basically I feel like at the moment, if you want to go through, I feel like you could maybe throw the Lions in there just because
Lions are probably the NFC version. And I think you might have an argument with the Jacksonville Jaguars just because they constantly have weird shit happen to them.
But I'm speaking currently. I think the NFL's two worst teams right now play in the same stadium in New Jersey. I think the Giants and the Jets are the two worst teams in the NFL.
Yeah, it's true. And the problem is, I don't think the Giants would have been if it wasn't for the injury to Barkley. I think that Saquon injury really just basically shut this year down. Because this was supposed to be Daniel Jones's year of coming out, and it just is not going to be that way.
Well, as we've seen historically, like even with his limited playing time, like a quarterback sophomore year, has he been in the league 2 or 3 years?
This is 2, I believe.
Yeah. Your sophomore year is never statistically that hot, but yeah, when you lose Saquon, second game of the year, you can't come back from that.
This might be third. This might be his third year.
I was just because I was going to say sophomore slump, and I'm like, wait.
Like you said, honestly might be right because
after you turn 21, time becomes a blur, and I can't remember much.
Yeah, I think it is because now I'm thinking about it because
was he 20? He was 2018, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. Let me see here. Daniel Jones. Yeah, experienced 2 years. This is, let's see, as a rookie in 19. No, this is his second year. You're right.
Okay, yeah, I was off.
Yep, you're right. So
yeah, I mean, fucking, no Saquon. Jesus Christ, that's like you, Jesse, being like, cut your left leg off and go to work on Monday.
yeah, right.
You might get there, but it's gonna take a lot more effort.
Yeah, so it is pretty bad that New York is as shittily dealt. Their hand is so
Who would
shittily
have
dealt.
thought that, everybody used to want to go play for the Giants and the Jets just because it was New York City. Now it's like the Cleveland might be a more dazzling free agent destination than New York City.
Yep, that's true.
Is Rihanna going to write a song about Cleveland?
In Cleveland.
Yeah, not a Cleveland state of mind.
That just sounds bad.
You just live next to a steel mill and you're depressed all the time.
It just sounds like something you would think of while sitting in a porta potty.
I've never heard a truer statement. That's right. All right.
In 105-degree weather. Okay. So let's take a look at some of the scores from week 3. Obviously, we have one week 4 game played, but we're going to backtrack a little bit and kind of cover all of our bases here. So let's take a look. Now, the Thursday night game, what a beautiful schedule these Thursday night games are, Just whoever fucking, man, they are just on it. Dolphins and Jaguars last week, but the Dolphins coming out on top.
At least next week it's the Bucks and the Bears. That's
a little bit better.
We finally get a good one. Yeah, the first couple of weeks, Christ. But then, like I said, everybody was making jokes, but last night was actually a pretty good game.
Yeah, no, it was. So yeah, we had the Dolphins and the Jaguars last Thursday, and that was a big Fitzpatrick day. So the Dolphins actually looked really good in that game. They were playing the Jaguars, obviously, but they looked good. The next game I want to talk about, and we can actually dig into this one a little bit, the Bears and the Falcons. A lot of things happened in this Bears game. I believe it was 3 touchdowns they were down. They pulled Trubisky. Big Dick Nick comes in and just fucking lights them up. Second week in a row, the Falcons let a double-digit lead, I think over 20-point lead, go at the end of the game.
Well, it was some ridiculous stat. I can't remember it, but it was something I laughed so hard. The Dallas game, it was like teams that have been up at least 3 scores or something like that, and have not committed a turnover like the previous 440 games or something like that, 440-0 or something like that. And the fucking Falcons became the one. And then it's like, okay, it can't get any worse next week, right? It can't.
Then they became the 2.
Fucking Trubisky gets pulled. They throw in Foles. And you, folks, if you're listening at home, if you have someone's like, play the Sarah McLachlan music in the background. If you or a loved one is an Atlanta Falcons fan, please call or check on them because they could need your love and support.
They really do.
This is going to sound fucked up, but it's almost like old Vietnam dudes, like hearing helicopters go over their heads. It's like Falcons fans have PTSD from the Super Bowl, and now every time they see a lead in the fourth quarter, especially with the first 2 games this year, they're going to be like, you're going to be at the bar, and you're going to be able to know if there's a Falcons fan in the place, if there's a game on, because they're all of a sudden going to get the 1,000-yard stare. It's going to be like, yo, shots, bro, please. You good?
Shots.
Like, I've seen some shit, man. I've seen some shit.
You weren't there, man.
Super Bowl party 2018 or whatever year that was.
You weren't there, man. You don't know.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
If you have a friend that's a Falcons fan, please check on them.
Yeah, big time. So Atlanta 0-3 now. The Bears probably one of the more surprising 3-0 teams. I wouldn't say most yet. We'll get to that later in the show. But definitely a surprising 3-0 team. Now, going forward, so many people talked about this team and how when Foles came in, he took command of that offense. And it was like an entire new energy started flowing through that team. Allen Robinson started playing better. The defense started playing better. Even the offensive line just felt more immersed into the game. So, do you think... I think the Bears handled this perfectly. And give me your opinion on this, but I want to throw this out there. This is, I think, 4th year for Trubisky. They haven't picked up his 5th year. I know that much.
Something
but
like
I think,
it. Yeah, it's around there.
I think this is his 4th year. They bring in Foles, who they know is a winner. They say, Trubisky's our man. They did it exactly right, because if they would have started with Foles and gone to Trubisky, everything would have been shot. You start with Trubisky. You see if he can do it. He's the one you invested in. You spent all this money. You spent all this capita to get up there at one fucking spot to pick him up. And now he's failed. Now you have this perfect insurance policy in Nick Foles. Nick Foles comes in. He blights it the fuck up. Now you know that Nick Foles is going to command this team, and you can part ways with Trubisky and buy yourself a couple more years with Foles. I think that they did this as perfect as they could this season in that sense, because now they've played it. The team's buying into Foles. They still have a quality backup in Trubisky at this point, but now they can move on from that mistake and still not drop in productivity. What is your take on it?
Well, I mean, you really can't. There's no drop in productivity because there really wasn't any productivity with fucking Mitch Trubisky.
Very true.
I bring this up every fucking time, that QB camp he did with Gruden on ESPN when Gruden was still a fucking correspondent, when he couldn't even tell you what a false count, what a false snap count was. It's like, okay, Ant Hunt, you snap the ball, and Gruden's like, no, you're drawing the defense off sides. You don't. Okay, and now you snap the ball. Like, the kid had started less than 20 games between high school and college, between the two platforms, and then you take him, you trade up. You go up in the draft. One spot.
All that capital.
Hold on, we're getting there. With Deshaun Watson and Patrick fucking Mahomes still there. You did all that. And I will tell you what, I feel like the Bears, maybe Matt Nagy, they kind of wanted to make this work. As soon as you bring in Nick Foles to any NFL team, it tells you one thing. Like with the Eagles, it was kind of a bit of a fluke. It was because Foles had familiarity there. They brought him back in, I believe, from Kansas City.
I think he wasn't even on a team at that point. I think he was contemplating retirement. If I'm not mistaken.
I can't remember. Or no, he might have. I know he was playing for the. Was he playing for the Rams at that point? I can't. I'd have to go look.
I think that was the last team he played for, but at that time he was just sitting in free agency when they got him.
But long story short, if you're an NFL team at this point, you don't bring in Nick Foles, who has won a Super Bowl, as a backup, unless you think
a Super Bowl MVP for that.
Unless you legitimately think there's a chance you're going to go to him at some point in the year. And I feel like us as fans, we've been probably calling it for the last year and a half, longer than that. And now the Bears are finally like, okay, it's time to just.
They've held on as long as they could.
And that's Ryan Pace and the fucking everybody else has to be so goddamn sick and tired of hearing about the Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes shit. But it's like you said, all that capital could go up one more space for somebody that realistically, if you looked at it from a scouting standpoint and a talent standpoint, nothing against the guy. But
so much more better options out there.
He needed a lot. He needed more development.
Yeah.
He wasn't ready to go into it all at once. And they traded up and they took him, and they could have literally let him fall fuck, he late first.
Trubisky should have probably been a 3rd to 4th round pick as a
He would have
project.
been a reach at the late first, probably early second for somebody, but that would have been a hey, come sit on the bench behind,
Aaron Rodgers or fucking, Drew Brees. Yeah, it's somebody that was an aging veteran that had a lot.
But to answer your question, to make it short, still blows my mind. The Trubisky experiment is officially over. The best thing that he can do is like pull a Jameis or do something like that. Go sit behind a Drew Brees or go sit behind somebody that can teach him something for a couple of years. Because he's got the fire. Like, I mean, and he's mobile. Like,
he's shown moments. That week 1 win, the throw to Miller at that corner of the end zone, that was beautiful. Like, he has his moments. He was not ready.
He needs a lot more polishing.
Yeah.
A lot.
Like
he needs like a Frank Reich-esque quarterback coach to really,
yeah. He's probably the only guy that could save him right now is probably Frank Reich.
There's somebody out there. Jesus Christ. The Raiders already got Marcus Mariota. We'll cut Peterman and Trubisky will be the 3rd on our fucking depth chart next year or something.
Yeah, that's right.
You gotta take that. You got Khalil Mack. We got Mitchell Trubisky.
Oh yeah. All right, let's move on. Sorry, Falcons. That's all I can say to that. Another 3-0 team that has kind of surprised. I wouldn't say surprised, but maybe surprised in the fact of how well they're doing it. The Bills and the Rams. Bills come back. I believe they had a 28-point lead that they saw just get completely decimated.
It was 3 or 4 scores.
It was 28-3, I believe, at one point, and because there was a lot of jokes about Falcons fans seeing it, seeing a 28-3 lead disappear. But that lead disappeared, but Josh Allen drove it down the field, and with 15 seconds left, throw it to Tyler Kroft in the left side of the end zone for a beautiful touchdown. That man is playing with a fire under his ass. He seems like he's having... He reminds me of that MVP. I don't want to compare him to Patrick Mahomes because it's different. But he reminds me of that like confidence level where he's just relaxed and having fun of that, of Patrick Mahomes' MVP season, where he's just back there, just tossing shit.
You don't think that, Allen just watched Mahomes go get his ring and his big deal, and, he's on top of the world right now. I'm not going to sit here and say Josh Allen is as talented, but at the level he's playing at right now, do I think he deserves to be mentioned in the same breath? Like, I think, like, Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Josh Allen, like, there's a very, like, if you go just week by week right now, like, there is rarefied air. Yeah. And those 3 right now are just playing their fucking mind.
Russell Wilson's playing out of his mind. If he gets snubbed, if he plays like this for the rest of the season and he gets snubbed for MVP again, I'm going to lose my shit. Because I get Lamar Jackson broke the record for most rushing yards from a quarterback. He didn't do a lot other than that, in my opinion. I still don't believe he's a superstar quarterback. I believe that Michael Vick is better.
I'm sorry. Let me do this real quick. You're not. I'll translate for you.
Okay.
What Jesse really means here, folks, is he realizes that Lamar Jackson has superstar potential, and he realizes if Lamar Jackson tunes his fucking throwing mechanics, he's going to be the absolute human cheat code. And Jesse, as somebody who knows that I have to struggle with Patrick Mahomes in my division, he is just hoping that he doesn't have to deal with the same thing. He's already dealing with it, but like I said, Lamar figures out how to throw.
Once he does, it's a different story. But right now he's got like 500 yards passing for the season and through 3 games.
I said, I'm not going to say it isn't all his fault because he's not the most accurate passer in the world yet. Not to throw out comparisons, but he reminds me a lot of Terrell Pryor. Like, just it's so crippling. Like, the accuracy is so close, it's so there, but it's either, he'll throw it behind a guy one time, and then there's one time where he'll hit a guy in the fingertips. But then I've said, like, I watched Mark Andrews and I watched a couple of guys on that, Monday night game between the Chiefs. Like, Lamar's putting throws on these guys at certain times, and they're just not, like, it's Hollywood Brown and Willie Snead. Who are their other receivers? Mark Andrews.
Mark Andrews.
Nick Boyle is the second tight end. Like, who's their other receivers?
They certainly don't have the playmakers that Kansas City does. I almost said KFC. Anyway, we're getting off the topic. We're on the Bills game, and we're talking about the Ravens.
Yeah.
Anyway, Bills make a huge comeback. Josh Allen is playing out of his mind. This is another 3-0 team we're going to discuss here in a few. That's been lights out so far. The defense needs to get a little better. They're not the defense of last year, but I think it's also because they don't have to lean on the defense as much because of how Josh Allen is playing. So there's not as much added pressure to this defense. So I feel like sometimes they're getting in shootouts. Because, like, for instance, the Seahawks right now are like one of the worst defenses in the league. But they're not really the worst. It's just that they've been in nonstop shootouts. Yeah. So it makes the numbers look bad. And I think that's a little bit of what the Bills are running into. I think you're going to see a moment where Josh is going to slip up and not have the best of game, and the defense will take over for him. It just hasn't had to happen yet.
Yeah, the defense is there. I mean, the pieces are all still there, but like you said, they're getting into a lot of running guns and stuff like that. And last year, I feel like the defense covered up Allen a lot because you knew he was going to constantly be aggressive and go for the big play. And it either worked out really well for him or he crashed and burned. And, Tre'Davious White and the rest of them had to basically come in and pick up the ashes and try to make something of it. Yep. Yeah, this year is a completely different story. I
love this Bills team.
As soon as they added Stephon Diggs, I went, okay. I went, all right, that gives Allen a legitimate number one receiver, and with that arm, he's going to be able to spread the field, stretch the field, and this is going to get real.
John Brown has kind of fit back into his position that he's been in on the Cardinals and on, I believe, the Ravens in that number 2, like deep threat or slot receiver spot. Yeah. So with Diggs there, it's really opened things up. And you can see how Diggs can affect a team by how bad the receiving core is on the Vikings right now.
Yeah. And I mean, I wanted to see how well Diggs did away from Thielen just because I feel like complemented each other a lot. And I feel like you're seeing that Diggs was obviously the big time playmaker.
Yeah.
I had a fantastic weekend betting, but the Bills were my fucking lock of the week. Like, I was like, there's no way that game loses, and this is me. I'm like, okay, big lead. And then I check it, and I didn't check it for probably like 3 quarters, and then I looked with like 6 minutes left in the fourth, and I'm like, I'm like, that was, I put $50 on the money line. I'm like, they're up 3 scores. This is over. Josh Allen, and like they're going to score 60 on him. Like it's done. And then I'm watching the Red Zone channel with Dad because the Raiders are already getting beat by that point, and it's like, well, the Rams have charged back. They're up by 3, and it's like,
wait, what?
Oh no, I've done it again. All right, moving on. We got the Washington football team and the Browns. Browns did beat the Washington football team. Not really too much to talk about. Nick Chubb is taking over games. Nick Chubb is really the big thing. He is the biggest star on that offense, and that's an offense with Odell Beckham Jr. and Baker Mayfield. The Browns, I don't think they're going to be contenders, but they're to the point where they're good. Like, I don't want to say not contenders. I feel like they're going to be there. They're going to be like 8-8, something like that.
Yeah, they're going to be one of those teams that goes above 8-8 one season and maybe below the next, or above it again.
Like it's not even really that, but they're good enough to the point where they're going to be the key to like the Steelers and the Ravens playoff race, and especially who's going to win the division. Because the Browns are good enough now. It's not like back in the day when they were shit, but Charlie Fry
you basically took that as an automatic win type of thing.
Yeah, when they would walk in and be like, okay, this is a cakewalk, and the Steelers would lose to them, but like a field goal. Like those games, those are over. Like this Browns team is good enough. Like you walk in and the Steelers want to, coast to a fucking divisional win or something like that and win the division. Like, this Browns team has the talent to give you a fucking bloody nose and punch you in the face. If you
I
don't
hope
pay
it
up.
rekindles that rivalry there because I miss that.
It is. It's just so great. Like, I've said this a million times. Like, the Browns are they've lost so much. Like, everybody's to the point. Like, even Steeler fans. Like, you just got to be to the point. You're like, we feel.
Come on, yeah. It's like I want you guys to be good.
It's like you got guys showing up and they got season tickets and they show up every week in brown paper bags. It's like, win something for them. Just
yeah, really.
If they got a wild card berth to the playoffs, the fucking city of Cleveland would burn to the ground. Like, it'd be. You thought the celebration in 2016 LeBron brought a fucking NBA championship home? The Browns go to the playoffs, that city will be ashes by morning.
I'm going to say this now. If they go to the playoffs, the excitement and pure hype, I don't think there's a chance that they lose that wild card round. Because they're going to be so fucking like, roid raged out, like so excited.
When you got to imagine, like, because, they live in Cleveland. Like, they know.
That's all you have to say.
Well, no, not even but like that. But all jokes aside, Cleveland's very much like, we love Pittsburgh. Cleveland is a very gritty, blue collar, kind of just make your own way type deal. And they, like, the city of Cleveland deserves, another championship. Like, they got the Cavs in 2016. That's what they've had for how fucking long.
Yeah.
They almost got the Indians in the World Series, and then the fucking Indians got smacked, I think, by the Royals. I can't remember.
Yeah,
the people of Cleveland, everybody loves baseball and, everything like that, but they love the Browns. Like, they all love the Browns.
Yeah.
They're the lovable losers, and like you said, they would walk into a fucking playoff game and it'd be like, Mel that lives, out on the lake that's worked in the steel mill for 40 years. They'd be like, let's fucking go.
Fucking drink 2 gallons of Vladimir before the fucking game.
I was going to say, do they drink, like, can't even say icy light. Like, what's the, like, what's
Duff.
The beer up there? How do you make a Boilermaker? Jack Daniels and whatever they're drinking. Yeah. Basically one of those, and then smoke a cigarette at halftime, and then go back.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, I'm liking the Browns at a 2-1 record right now. I really do like it, and honestly, their only loss was that week 1 against the Ravens, where they just didn't look prepared. And since then, they've looked like a completely different team. So
yeah,
it's very exciting.
The last 2 weeks, the offense is finally. I think week 1, yeah, I think it was.
And it's not even like it used to be. Like, it all was Jarvis Landry, and like he's not even doing crazy stat lines this year.
It's really him and Odell. You really don't see.
They're actually kind of evening each other out right now.
They're kind of almost in the background. It's a lot of it's just the Nick Chubb show.
Nick Chubb and Hunt, they're just. They're a dynamic duo.
And what a fucking steal. You get Nick Chubb, who's a feature back, and then obviously Kareem Hunt has his troubles. If he was still in Kansas City right now, everybody's talking about Edwards-Helaire.
Oh, my God.
They still had Kareem Hunt. I wouldn't even, as a Raider fan, I wouldn't even turn that game on. Like, I just, I'll check the score. I'll watch something else. I don't need that pain.
I just don't know how you defend that. I don't even know how you.
No. But it's like, that defense is so beat up, like Nick Chubb beats the shit out of you for the first 40 yards of the drive. And then it's like, okay, here comes Kareem Hunt with fresh legs.
Yeah, he's going to go in the slot, though.
With your hands on your knees and you're fucking winded. That's like, it's hard to argue against the Browns making a little bit of a run.
Yeah, it really is.
Except for the fact that they're the Browns.
Yeah, but that always plays a factor in that. So let's move on. The Titans and Vikings, and we're going to get into the Titans here after we're done with this one. But they, once again, I don't even want to say the Titans.
Let's go down through the rest of the scores, and then we'll get into that.
Yeah, the Titans had a nice comeback. Came to 31-30 on that one. We're going to come back to that because there's some interesting shit.
Did you see Gostowski said he took his socks off inside of his I don't know if it was both of his cleats, but his kicking shoe, and said that it was helping him, and then he fucking, after he struggled last week, he comes out once again. It's almost like he you take a former Patriot and stick him with a former Patriot head coach, and they just it's almost like there's like like the video games when you're like like you mana or like there's like an aura between you and somebody else. That's
You're
what I'd
connected.
imagine. Like I'm gonna be in heaven, I'm gonna die, and that's what it's gonna look like. Patriots players above, they're just all connected. Like they just have like this fucking supernatural bullshit. And they're good at football, and it's fucked up.
Yeah. The next game we could talk about there is the Patriots and the Raiders. Patriots did come in, and there was moments in that game where it looked like the Raiders could take control. But the big thing, like you said, Bill Belichick shut down Waller. Exactly like you said.
It wasn't even so much that. Like, we looked okay. We just, a lot of dumb penalties, a lot of, like, that and fucking the one Josh Jacobs fumble, he recovered himself, but the fucking ref blew the whistle too early, gave it to the Patriots, and assumed they couldn't review it because they said it was inconclusive. Even though you saw it on like the CBS crew, and Gene Steratore with his fucking bullshit index card was even like, yeah, that's a recovered fumble by the Raiders. We were in the red zone. Like we had a missed field goal, like just a lot of miscues and classic things that you can't do against a Patriots team, like we used to say against Brady, and it still rings true. Even with Cam Newton, you can't make mistakes against his team, or they'll make you.
Rex Burkhead, like
that's what
the fucking bullshit that the Patriots do, where they just pick some random running back and say it's going to be your day, and then so next week Rex will get like 4 carries. It's just how it's going to fucking be.
Just to wrap up the Raiders, not really discouraged.
Still 2-1 right now.
Well, the defense held in there. Like, it wasn't like we were outmatched. It was just like as soon as they got tired, like third quarter, things started to kind of spiral out. Like you said, it became the Rex Burkhead fucking display. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, you got Sony Michel, you get all these people that can be beating us, and it's like, here comes this white bald fuck to score 3 touchdowns.
Yep.
Yeah, a couple injuries on the defensive side. The Raiders aren't historically good going to the East Coast. Neither's Carr. And the Patriots, I feel like, I mean, even with that game, like the Patriots just lost to the Saints, or no, wait, who? Well, was it the Saints?
Yeah. Yes. No. Yes. No. Seahawks. They lost.
No, Seahawks. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the same Patriots team that lost to the Seahawks by 5, and the Raiders don't make a bunch.
And it came down to literally a goal line stop.
Yeah. The Raiders don't make those unforced errors and don't make the mistakes in the game. We play right along with them. We probably win. So
yeah,
not discouraged. I still think we're right up in the cream of the crop.
Yeah, so I'm not going to disagree with you on that. The defense needs to come together a little more, but that's really the biggest downfall is the secondary right now.
Honestly, that's the thing is we're finally like the linebackers and that secondary is finally starting.
Yeah.
Trayvon Mullen, I will say real quick, I think his PFF had him graded as the best corner in press man coverage through the first 3 weeks of the year. Like every time you see anybody throw at him, it's gone. Like he's a magnet. It's just everybody else kind of has to gel together, and there's no pass rush. We still got to get a pass rush.
The pass rush is really, really, and that will help the secondary one if that can happen because that's just what it does.
And with the playmakers we have in the secondary, with them being as good as they are right now, even without a pass rush, all we need is just that little bit of a spark, a little bit of a push. Everything's very close right now. It's just we gotta
I like it. I like the team, and it's surprising what it's not surprising what the Patriots have been able to do. They still have Bill Belichick. I called this last year when they said who's going to have the better season, Brady or Belichick, and I said Belichick.
Yeah.
So,
and they like I said, they beat us by 16, but a lot of that was garbage time, and that game got a little bit out of hand at the end.
Yeah, there was moments where it was really close, and then it just kind of fell apart.
Yep. On to next week. We're on to Cincinnati.
Niners and Giants. Niners just crushed the Giants. Gerard McKinnon has been a nice breath of fresh air on an injured backfield. This whole fucking team is injured. I don't know how they're 2-1. They lose their 2 best defensive linemen for the season.
The team trainer is snorting Vicodin and drinking whiskey every night.
Yeah, it's like it's
the
bad.
Poor fucking guy is stressed to the max.
But I mean, they're using their depth. McKinnon looks actually awesome. I think
Well,
he
he
was
was.
out for like 2 years straight with different injuries. So
Yeah, I mean,
this is
like,
kind of his
when he
breath
was
of
in
fresh
Minnesota,
air.
like he was a good weapon. It was just one of those things where he had to overcome injuries, and I think the Niners lost Matt Breida to the Dolphins. He was
Hmm.
sort of one of their big two-way backs. I know that because I was a Matt Breida believer. I know I had to
Yep.
constantly swap him in and out of my fucking lineup when he was hurt, but when he was
Yeah.
in there, he was a big deal. But
Yeah.
yeah, McKinnon fills that very nice sort of. He can be a third down back, or he can be a pass catching back. So
Yeah. So he's really, really shown some good flashes there. Once they get Mostert, I can't say his
Raheem
name right.
Mostert.
Mostert. Okay. I believe he's is coming back next week or is close to coming back. One of the two. I'm not sure.
I was just reading because I drafted Debo Samuel in our league, and I think I was looking. I believe Mostert and Debo are both off the injury report, so they may both be. Don't quote me on that. It's 10:18 on Friday, October 2nd. I don't know if they're both good to go. Don't set your fantasy lineups just because of me, but I think they're both cleared.
I think so too. So let's move on to the Bengals Eagles. They fucking end in a tie. I don't even know if there's anything to discuss. These two
I
teams.
I don't know why I drafted Joe Mixon because he's like a forgotten man in this offense.
Yeah.
Burrow looks good, but Burrow has a tendency, and I mean, it's not really like it's the worst thing in the world. He's a good passer. He's very talented with the ball, but he just wants to throw to AJ Green. But like I said, I don't know if that's necessarily the worst thing because AJ Green, everybody seems to be just playing him one on one and leaving him with a corner. And if you do that, 9 times out of 10, if you give somebody with enough time as talented as Burrow and you give AJ Green enough time, like they seem to be just clicking really, really
They're
well.
gelling pretty well. So he started to kind of gel with T. Higgins as well, too, which
Yeah,
I
T.
find
Higgins.
ironic that, they were across the field from each other last year at this
Yeah, and
time.
honestly, like I said, they need to get Mixon involved. They need to get Tyler Boyd involved. Is what
Yeah.
they need to do. Like this could be a very, very talented offense, but like I said, I mean, it's for a team that AJ Green wanted to leave last year. I mean, Burrow, it's almost like Burrow knows that and he like wants to keep him there next year. He's like,
Yeah.
I'm going to do nothing but throw you the ball.
Yeah. And it's nice to see AJ healthy
Yeah, he
and
looks
off
good.
that injury list. So it's definitely been good to see. I can't wait for this team. I really thought this was the week they were going to get their first win, and I feel like they should have. But obviously, it's a rookie quarterback, and you're going to have those rookie things happen, and defense isn't quite there, and there's just still a
Well,
lot of
the
shit that
defense
needs
is
done.
is not great at all, and like
No,
you said, even everybody was like, oh, Burrow has had a little bit of a coming to earth, but he's from what I've seen from him, just his mannerisms and just how he acts on the field and how he carries himself. I think he's one of those guys where he's equipped to deal with this. And he's very competitive. Like you can
yeah,
tell the guy's just like, okay, we need to make this better, and we're gonna fucking go out. We're gonna fix this, and we're gonna win. And that's
yeah.
that's what you need, especially
He
young
needs to not,
quarterback, young
he
coach,
needs
and
to
a
not do
young
the
franchise that
discouraging.
hasn't quite found its way.
Yeah, it's like he needs to not get discouraged. He needs to use it as fuel, and that's the difference that has happened with past quarterbacks for the Browns, where you lose and lose and lose, they get depressed and then they're no good.
They're just
So
like,
I just don't want
trade
that
me.
to happen to Burrow because I think Burrow's better than that. I think that as long as he uses this as fuel to his fire, he'll be fine. Move on to the Steelers and Texans. Steelers had to do a little bit of a comeback here. Texans actually showed up really in the first half of this game. Looked kind of scary there for a moment.
Yeah, you guys looked in a little bit of trouble to start off.
The biggest thing that was happening was the Steelers' game plan coming into this was to play a zone blitz scheme. And Watson was picking it apart because the pass rush wasn't getting there. And he was just finding all the openings.
Well, and I mean, against this team, like zone blitz was the best fucking thing they could do because this offensive line has been patchy. So obviously, leave your linebackers back and let everybody else fucking fly. Send a corner, do whatever you're going to do. But Deshaun Watson is talented enough. And like you said, the line really just, there were times where they seemed like they were getting to him, but it seemed like he was pretty unbothered in the first half.
He was getting the ball out quick enough. He was finding that hole quick enough. And I used to love the zone blitz scheme back in the day when it was like James Ferrier and all them. It doesn't work in today's NFL as well. Because any quarterback that's more than 2 years in the league can pick apart his own defense pretty well, unless you're Mitch Trubisky.
Well, you said NFL quarterback.
Yeah, good point. He isn't in that category. But yeah, no, that's like a lot of them can break it down now. And I don't think I think if Shazier was still there, it would be different. I don't feel like Bush has the zone coverage skills, and I know Vince Williams doesn't. And it was just over the middle shit constantly. It was everywhere that Devin Bush was, and he just isn't there yet on zone coverage. He's a great blitzer. He's a great tackler. He has huge advantage in pursuit. It's just not quite there in zone.
Coverage, coverage he'll get there. I just think he needs a little bit more time.
I think so too.
He's fast enough. He has the physical tools.
They don't have a good running mate with him though in coverage because Vince Williams is not a coverage guy. When I saw the play where Vince was covering, who the fuck was it? In the corner of the end zone. I want to say it was shit. Now I can't think of his name. It was one of the faster receivers they got.
Will Fuller?
Fuller. I think that was it. But he curls up the fucking sideline and Vince Williams is covering him. And I'm like, are you fucking high? Or no, it was Brandon Cooks is who it was. Yeah, it was fucking Cooks. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? This is the same shit that's happened when I want to say we played Arizona last year and they had, or not Arizona. I think they had him on DeAndre Hopkins last year when we played them or something like that. I remember, but there's no reason.
Yeah, I feel like you're right. I feel like Hop got him on a couple.
Yeah, and there's no reason fucking Vince Williams should be covering a receiver ever. So I think, and you saw it happen. The adjustments were made, and they shut him down in the second half.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, good win for you guys.
Here's the thing.
Randall Cobb sighting in that game.
Yeah, right? The Steelers have beat 3-0-3 teams. So, yeah, we're 3-0. What's that mean? We beat probably the worst of the worst. But the thing I like about it is that we're not losing to shitty teams all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Which is something we always fucking did. So, I'm happy about that.
Like I said, you haven't played the Browns yet, so.
That's true. All right, let's move on. Colts and the Jets. Don't need to talk about that one. Colts kicked their ass.
We've already talked about what a dumpster fire the Jets are. This is just past tense.
Yeah, this is Panthers and Chargers. Panthers come out with their first win this season. I really thought the Chargers were going to win that. I really thought Herbert was going to get his first win. I liked that kid though. I like how he's showing up, and I think he's going to have good things to come.
He's showing growing pains, but I think the flashes are there.
Yeah. The best meme I've seen over this last week is that Justin Herbert looks like a quarterback for a Disney Channel movie where the quarterback secretly loves musicals.
I know, I saw that.
That is the greatest
Instead
description.
Of Troy Bolton, it's Justin Bolton.
Yeah, it was so good. All right, move on. The Lions somehow beating the Cardinals on a game-winning field goal as time expired by Prater. I didn't expect the Cardinals to lose that game. Very surprised the Lions pulled it out because I think this Lions team is not great. So the Cardinals...
I would just chalk it up to teething problems for the Cardinals,
I think that's it. I mean, their defense had moments. And Kyler Murray usually was in command, and he just didn't seem I mean, he did well in the game, but it just didn't seem like he was at his normal self.
Yeah, they did do a fairly good job of harassing him and making him kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Which, as much shit as everybody's giving Matt Patricia, I think you got to give him a little bit of credit for that. You know, he was the defensive mastermind for the New England fucking Patriots. So.
Yeah.
I feel like he kind of found his groove on that one.
Yeah, finally. I think he's one of the few coaches, or one of the coaches that's still kind of on a hot seat. But it was nice to see them get a good win there, I guess. Next game, the Bucks and the Broncos. Obviously, the Broncos are also a little bit of dumpster fire. My favorite thing about this game is Mike Evans' stat line: 2 receptions, 2 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, easy. That's all you got to
do. So that was probably my favorite stat line of the whole fucking game. But yeah, the Brady's putting things together finally. He doesn't seem like he's lost in that offense now. He looks like he's taking more command in it. I think that week 1 loss really fucking got him pissed.
Well, I don't think people value it enough in today's era of memes and internet and stuff like that. I don't think it's so much these guys go out and search it out. I think it's just, it'd be kind of like, I'm never going to go pro in football, but it'd be like I go to the U.S. Open and blow a fucking 3-stroke lead on Sunday. And, you know, all the memes, like, you guys would be ruthless. You would be just, oh, sorry, you know, you blew that. I know it's going to be hard for you. And be like, you know, just some of the most deadly, just kick you in the nuts shit you'd ever see in your life about yourself. And, you know, Brady, he's at least savvy enough. He's got to see, you know, them being like, all the memes being like, damn, y'all don't cheat here and stuff like that. He's like, okay.
You mean you don't have all 32 teams' playbooks?
Yeah, it's like, you can't control the air pressure here. And it's like, he saw that and he's like, okay, let's go out and make a statement. And he definitely is. He looks a lot better. Yeah, he definitely does.
Next game, the Cowboys Seahawks. These ones are always fun. Seahawks right now their offense is insane. And I think what's happening is, and I kind of discussed this earlier, their defense looks like the worst in the league right now. But it's because they're throwing down so many points, people are going into desperation mode and constantly passing. Like Dak Prescott right now is on a 1-2 team, but he's also got like every category as a quarterback leading the league.
Well, that has nothing to do with his schedule. That's just him going, fuck you, Jerry.
Yeah, well, that's a little bit it. I'm going on record right now and saying I am so fucking tired of people shitting on Dak Prescott. He is a top 10 quarterback, in my opinion. Stat-wise, he is. They need to fucking get behind him and stop giving this man shit.
He's a top 10 quarterback, but take him and throw him in like Atlanta. You know what he'd be? Like he has an all-world offensive line. He has Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb, and Ezekiel fucking Elliott behind him. By God, he better be fucking good.
Yeah.
But I mean,
yeah, I can't disagree with you there, but I think they need to stop blaming him for all their woes. If there's anybody to blame for all their woes, it's Jerry Jones.
Well, and that's what I was about to say. You took the words out of my mouth. The reason is all this Cowboys faithful. They will never disparage St. Jerry. I mean, that's the difference between Cowboys fans and Raider fans. Like, I remember a couple of times. Like, when we drafted Hayward Bay, I remember being here like, fuck you, Al, you dumb piece of shit. Like, you'll never hear a Cowboy fan say that. Like,
no.
Like St. Jerry, like, you know, pray to him like he's
in Jerry we trust.
Exactly. So yeah, I don't know why, like, I don't know why they haven't fucking just given Dak his goddamn money by now. Like, his team. Like I said, all world, you know, team around him, but at the same time, put Andy Dalton in there and see what the result is.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll see what you should probably pay for.
Yeah. So Seahawks win that one. They're another 3-0 team. Russell Wilson has 14 touchdown passes through 3 weeks, which is absurd. That guy is playing out of his fucking mind.
Probably like 10 incompletions through 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's stupid. He's like, he's almost, I believe he's nearly 80% completion percentage. I think it's like 77 or something like that. Stupid. Packers and Saints. Fucking Aaron Rodgers and Breeze. That was a fucking great game. But Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Rodgers looks like a man on a mission right now. I think they pissed him off so bad that he is just out there like he's got like dead eyes while he's just destroying defense. Like defense after defense in his wake, and he's just.
Well, I don't think he was quite settled in with LaFleur last year, and now I think, like you said, he like a couple of these other guys, he's finally got the grasp of the offense. And Aaron Rodgers, like you said, it is almost like I'm thinking like Schwarzenegger '80s Terminator. Like you just see him coming, like Thanos. He's just fucking inevitable. Like you just, if you give that man the ball with you could give that man the ball with like 50 seconds left on his own 20 in the fourth with one timeout. And I still have some way to believe, even if you got to score a touchdown, I'm like, you have fucking Aaron Rodgers on your team.
It's going to happen.
It is terrifying, like you said. Like he's normally a very laid back and pretty relaxed guy.
Yeah.
He looks so fucking determined.
Yeah.
And for a guy that I think he honestly, if you want my honest opinion, I think he realizes his clock is running out very, very soon and Father Time is catching up with him.
Yeah.
So he's going to go out there and throw the fucking nuts at it every day and just go balls to the wall. And that is really, really fucking bad news for everybody else.
Yes.
Thank God he's in the NFC.
Yep.
We don't need more of that bullshit over here.
No, please don't.
Josh Allen.
And that brings us to our Monday night game of the Chiefs and Ravens. Mahomes becomes the fastest QB in NFL history to reach 10,000 yards. He lit that fucking team up. His little underhand shovel pass to Sherman for the touchdown. I'm sitting there in my living room going, what the fuck was that?
I just, as soon as I saw the action, as soon as I saw that play and I saw what they folded it down to and what it actually was, all I could say was, I just sat there and was like,
yeah,
that was such, and that's a play call that will go underrated and they won't look at it in the highlights and stuff like that. But that motioning everybody out and getting literally the entire defense moving this way.
He you just faked it like he was gonna run an RPO and then just went.
Yeah, he was running with the guys going this way and everybody goes this way and nobody's paying attention to the fullback. That was a truly, truly.
And then wasn't it another touchdown later in the game? They passed it to Eric Fisher.
Yes, they did. Yeah, they threw in they got the big man touchdown caveat in there.
Yep. So that team is stupid in the red zone right now. They literally, and I've heard so many analysts talk about it, they are literally making it so you have to defend every single player because you don't know where it's going to come from. And that's very Andy Reid though.
They're that talented. I mean,
yeah.
Sammy, you guard Tyreek, Sammy Watkins, or Demarcus Robinson's going to get open, or Travis Kelce, or they're going to run the ball with Hilaire. Or
is there a defense in this league that can match up to every playmaker on this team one-on-one? Because I don't think there is.
I'm going down through the list.
I'm sitting here trying to think, and I don't think there is. You could cover 2, maybe 3 of them. But there's 6.
Like I said, if we're going with talent-wise and the ceiling, maybe. They haven't showed up this year, but the Bills, maybe. Just because if Tre'Davious White can lock down Tyreek, I feel like the other guys can pick up Sammy Watkins and everybody else. But they're to the point of like cheat code almost.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a little absurd. And then obviously we'll go to the last night's game, the Thursday night with the Jets and Broncos. Broncos on their 3rd starting quarterback. It was obviously a game that was just a giant dumpster fire in general. But the Broncos ended up coming out top 37-28. Good for them. It sucks them not having Lindsey. Melvin Gordon's looked okay, but Lindsey's hurt. They're on their 3rd quarterback until Drew Lock comes back in. I don't see very many big things happening with this Broncos team.
No. With the Raiders being the way they are and the Chargers maybe getting a little burst from her or boost from Herbert. I don't think, they'll be looking at probably like a top 5 pick.
All right, so I want to move on here to talk about like the COVID problems. So obviously we had some issues with Tennessee. I think it's now up to 7 or 8 players have tested positive, and I think 6 staff members at this point. Minnesota hasn't had anybody test positive, so that's a good sign, which makes me think it happened after, obviously. Maybe some people went out and partied after the win. Nobody's released a statement or saying like, oh, this happened and that's what led to COVID, them all contracting it. Nobody has said a word. They just say, oh, this person tested positive today. Oh, this next person, oh, we got another new positive. But nobody knows how.
Everybody's staying pretty tight-lipped for a reason. I feel like
I feel like there was a big slip up.
Well, I don't feel like not so much a slip up. It's going to be one of those things where, and I don't mean to be ignorant by this or anything like that, but like I don't know what the rules are as far as visitors and things like that. You watch, it'll be one of these guys snuck in some girl into his hotel room for a little late night, something. And, the next morning he wakes up and he's like, I don't feel good, and starts coughing. And then all of a sudden, your game's canceled this week. You're on a bye.
Yeah. It's a little bit, as a Steelers fan, I think it's shitty that we get, I don't want to say punished, but it is kind of punished because now we have a week 4 bye and we have to play 13 games straight before the playoffs. That's real fucking shitty. And the fact that, it's not our fault. But now this game happening like this has affected the Ravens. It's affected the Steelers and the Titans. So if this happens again, say this fucking Tennessee can't go again next week, what the fuck are they going to do? They can't move the bye week again. Can't give somebody 2 bye weeks. Does that mean they forfeit? Like what? We haven't had to cross that bridge yet, but I have a feeling it's coming.
I hope it's not coming because it puts a big crossroads. It puts the NFL in a big crossroads. But if you want to, it's such a hard decision to make. But in my opinion, you get to that point where you're still having more positive tests pop up. They haven't had contact with other teams. I think at that point, you pretty much go, until you guys are healthy, you either forfeit or you just basically surrender your win-loss for the season. And be nice, just be like, we'll write it down. Like, just put it as like a 0-0, like no contest or something like that. Just because it could be somebody in the organization's fault, but at the same time, in the current world we live in, somebody could have used a public restroom or something like that and given it to the whole fucking team.
Touched a fucking handle on the bus and scratched their eye or something.
I get where you're coming at, where it's like, oh, the Steelers are being punished, but it's not like, I'm sure.
It's not that, it's not anybody's fault.
I'm sure they were taking, unless we find out, to quite the contrary. I'm sure the precautions were being taken, but as we've seen with this, you can take all the precautions in the world.
Yeah. I'm worried because nothing has been released that something nefarious was happening.
Nefarious? Like I said, I guarantee I am more than willing to bet it's going to be some special teams, like third string linebacker.
They said it started with one of the practice squad dudes.
What's that?
There was one of the guys that got it was a practice squad guy.
Yeah. But it's going to be something like somebody snuck some broad into their hotel room for a little canoodling late at night, and she didn't. You should have had the temperature, the forehead scanner gone out.
As she goes, hold on.
She's like, all right, I know you want to fuck, but
101. Get the fuck out of here, ho.
Oh, don't even breathe on me. Put a mask on.
Yeah, so that has really put a damper. I'm hoping that this is the only instance because it's not like other leagues, like you said, where you can reschedule and play games in the same day or move things around, or in baseball, you can do a doubleheader. It's not like that in football.
Fingers crossed. They played the Vikings. They were obviously, like you said, we are beginning to start to believe this was a post-game, infection of some sort. But I believe the Vikings are back in their team facility with, I believe, enhanced protocols.
Yep.
But they haven't had any positive tests so far.
Correct.
So, like I said, it would obviously be rough. You wouldn't want to see the Titans get penalized or, forfeit the season or something like that just because they couldn't get healthy in time. I believe I told you I think they could realistically extend the NFL season about 3 weeks before after that it becomes unfeasible with marketing and schedules and stuff like that.
Right.
So I don't see it happening right now, but if this becomes a recurring issue where you get a team that just can't shake – instead, not the injury bug, the COVID fucking bug. I couldn't see it just being like hey, sorry about your luck for everybody's best interest.
See, I don't know if I could say, I feel like they would do more like you're going to have to forfeit this week, you're going to have to forfeit next week until you get to a 0 positive, multiple tests, 0 positives. But I don't think
that's what I was getting at.
Forfeiting the season.
What's that?
I don't think it would be something of forfeiting their season, though. I doesn't get to that extent.
Well, like I said, my only thing is I read because of the Pro Bowl and how they have that all set up, and with the gap between the Super Bowl and everything, in 3 weeks is they can delay everything. My only thing with I don't want to see anybody forfeit, and I think that's a big drastic step. But I'm saying if you continue to see,
if you see more and more and more,
the St. Louis Cardinals were out for almost like 2 weeks or something. I think with the baseball team. So if this becomes something where they can't shake it and guys keep popping up, like you said, Goodell comes out and says everybody has to be at a 0 for you guys to continue.
Yep.
And next week, the assistant videographer goes, "Oh, I don't feel good," and tests positive.
So there was, I can't remember the team, and I want to say it was the Falcons. There was instances week 2 where they had 2 false positives and they had to wait to get the second results. They woke up Sunday morning just basically waiting to see if they were going to get a positive. And luckily it came back. It was false positives. They were able to play. So that was like a near scare that happened kind of behind the scenes that nobody really knew about. But that's the type of shit that evidently has been occurring where you can go up to Sunday morning and go, fuck, we got 2 positives. We can't play today. So hopefully we don't see more of this. Hopefully this is a wake-up call and teams crack down a little harder on some instances. But all we can do is hope.
It's just, we can't lose football. We can't lose
it. Please. All right, so let's break down some of these 3-0 teams, okay? I want to know who's a pretender, who's a pretender and contender. So in the NFC, we have the Seahawks, we have the Green Bay Packers, we have the Bears, and that's it. That's the NFC teams. Out of those 3, who do you think is really going for it? I don't think this is hard.
Do I even really have to say it? Like,
We all know it's going to be the Seahawks and the Packers. Like, we all know those are real.
Yeah.
I think it's surprising the Bears are 3-0 right now. I don't think they can sustain it. Let's take a look at some stats here. The points for the Bears at 3-0 is 74. Points against is 62. They have an 8-point differential. What? No, 12-point differential between their 3 games. They're playing some tight games.
Yep.
Packers have scored 122 fucking points, and Seahawks are 111.
And so I'll say the Bears are the pretenders there, but I will say that defense is woefully underperformed the first 3 games. If the defense turns it on and this team really starts to mold around Foles and adapt to him and they really buy into him, like I said, with the talent on defense, Nick Foles could go out there. He might have to realistically throw 2-3 touchdowns, and the game.
It's starting to look like this team could somehow sneak into like a 10-6 record. Like they could.
What kind of the problem is you get Nick Foles in relief, and then you get Nick Foles starting, and you don't know which one's going to show up.
Yeah, there's times where Nick Foles coming in is just like, this guy's insane. Then he starts the next week and he throws 3 picks, and you're like, okay, what happened?
It's like, what are you looking
at? Yeah. So hopefully you get Big Dick Nick, and he can come out there and do some work for them. So I think out of those 3 teams, it's really the Bears are the pretenders, but we'll see how much they can sustain. So let's look at the AFC's 3-0 teams. We have the Steelers, we have the Titans, both of which will still be 3-0 after this week. The Bills and Kansas City. Now, Vegas Raiders are actually second in the division right now with that 2-1 record, so that's always cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, obviously the Chiefs are not a pretender. They are there. I think this Buffalo Bills team is still a fucking contender. They are going to win this division. I really feel like it, and I'm honestly putting them at like a 13-3 record right now. Just the way this, because I think the defense is going to come on late. But man, this team is looking good. Tennessee Titans. I'm surprised they're 3-0. I don't feel like they're going to be able to sustain that undefeated record past for very much longer. It's all going to depend on the Derrick Henry. I think the team's better. I think the defense is better than it was last year, which is hard to say. But you still have Ryan Tannehill. He's not going to light people up. They have to control the game, or they don't win it, in my opinion.
Tannehill's plenty talented enough. It's just a matter of he's got to put they got to put the ball in his hands and let him take control. Like, he made those throws and he had those games last year. It's just, what are you going to do? Are you going to hand it to Derrick Henry? Or are you going to let Ryan Tannehill put the ball in the game in his hands?
Yeah, that's going to be the real question. So I don't want to say they're pretenders, but I want to say they're contenders. I think this could be another, like I said, 9-7, 10-6 type of team. But I think it's all going to be Tannehill. Because what I said about the Bears, points for, 80 points. Points against, 74. They have a 6-point differential.
Ugh.
Yeah. So these games have been tight with them. They won last week. They won by 1. So the games are going to be tight with them. I think they're winning this division unless the Colts start kicking some ass, which they might.
Old Man Rivers, you never know.
That's true. I think they're winning that division, in my opinion, but I also don't know that they're going to be as strong as a 3-0 type of team. They're not going to sustain that. Moving on to the Steelers. The Steelers haven't been faced with a test yet. So I don't want to call them contenders yet.
I will applaud you for being realistic, because you took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say the Steelers have shown flashes. The run game, you guys, Connor looked good last week, but
yeah, but it's all in garbage time. Connor's big games.
Those were the first flashes I've seen from him in a while.
Yeah,
you guys got to figure out the run game and become a little bit more consistent. And
DeCastro being in there helped.
Yes,
that right.
And play a little bit. Not shitting on you, but you really haven't played a decent team the first 3 weeks.
That's why I was looking so forward to this week, because this was going to be our contender. You know, this is another 3-0 team coming in, a team that has a strong defense and a good run game. It was a good test, and it would have let me see if this team is for real or not. The AFC North, every team in that division, I believe those 4 teams are the 6 easiest schedules, like in the top 6 of easiest schedules. So obviously all the people the Steelers would beat are 0-3 right now. But the thing I like about that is we're still causing turnovers in defense. We actually have a pretty good point differential. We've scored 80, 58 against us. So there is a good point differential there. Um, each week, Ben looks a little more comfortable. So I'm happy we started out the schedule this way and got to that 3-0 and are in a kind of comfortable position to lead into the season. But I want to see the test. I want to see them play a good team. I want to see the Ravens. That's what I want.
You're going to see them twice, and that's
Yeah.
what you need to see right now. Is they're going to be the benchmark. You'll figure out right where you're at. Like I said, I'm not going to say the defense has looked okay. It's been very patchy, very inconsistent. You need to really play that high level, that top flight talent, and it's coming down the pike.
I saw it in the Broncos game. There were so many little mistakes, overthrown balls, drop passes, just discipline errors. And it got covered up because the Broncos were not good.
Yeah.
So I said it then. I don't think I said it in the podcast. I think I said it to Chelsea. It was, they looked good, but not good enough yet. So I'm not calling them a contender yet until I see more proof.
I'm agreeing with that.
All right. And then let's go to our winless teams. So there's actually not tremendously, I think the biggest surprise in the AFC, we have the Bengals 0-2-1. We have the Texans 0-3. And then we have the Jets 0-4 right now. Obviously, the Jets are going to be scooping shit at the bottom of the AFC.
Let's just go ahead and say not shocked.
Not shocked at all. The Bengals, I feel like they're going to get a few wins this year, but this is a growing year for Burrows. This is him just gaining experience. That's all you're really looking for out of this team right now. Sneak a few wins out there, maybe some primetime games or something, where you go in and you were completely written off as the underdog and Joe Burrows comes out and fucking tears it up. I could see that totally happening.
He'll have one or two statement games where he'll come out and he'll play well, but they're not going to win too much.
No, this is probably a max 4-win team. Is the way I'm looking at it. The Texans, on the other hand, started off with the worst fucking starting schedule I have ever seen. I don't know who made the schedule for this team, but like they fucking must have hated Bill O'Brien or something.
I was going to say somebody had a bunch of Texans on their fantasy team last year and knew NFL HQ, and they're like, "Oh, we're going to put you in charge of the Houston Texans schedule. Is that okay?" And the guy was like, "Fuck yeah, it is."
This is the best 0-3 team in the league, and
by far,
yeah, it's. How can you not be 0-3 going up against the Chiefs and the Ravens first 2 weeks? And then, honestly, I was a little bit concerned in the Steelers game because this team is better than an 0-3 record. But then the Steelers shut them out in the second half. So it's like they're not doing themselves any favors. They could have had a possibility of winning that Steelers game.
Yeah.
So their differential right now is bad, man. It's -38. They've scored 57 points and had 95 points scored against them. That defense, where JJ Watt's non-existent right now. Yeah, they're doubling him. They're doing what they normally did to him. But JJ used to be able to battle through that. He's not himself anymore.
Yep, he's officially past that point, I think.
Yeah. He's serviceable. He's still good in the run game. He can still, hold an edge. He just doesn't seem to have that high motor, crazy Watt characteristic anymore. Like, he almost looks tired, I guess is the best way to say it. So, and maybe it's because they don't have Clowney on the other side anymore, and maybe that helped him. But I feel like Merciless and who the fuck's the other? McKinney, I want to say.
Yeah,
is that right? I feel like those other guys have been able to create pass rush, so they should be able to help Watt in that sense. But Steelers doubled him. Watt wasn't really able to do a ton. I think he got half a sack that game. But also,
believe so.
TJ was kind of shut down too. He got 1 sack that game. So, but anyway, this is absolutely the best. I think there's a rebound coming, but I really don't know. I feel like this team still has a chance to win this division, but I also feel like they're probably a 10-6 team at best. At best.
At the very best.
All right, so let's move over. Or do you have anything else to add than those?
Fuck no.
Fuck no. All right, let's move over to the NFC. We don't even get to talk about the NFC West because they're 3-0, 2-1, 2-1, 2-1. That fucking division is absurd. Like I said, I honestly feel like this division may have every team in the playoffs. It is very well possible.
With the added 3 wild card spots,
it's very well possible, and it would not surprise me. Okay, so we have the 0-3 Atlanta Falcons. We have the 0-3 Vikings. We have the 0-2-1 Eagles and the 0-3 Giants. Holy shit, the NFC East sucks dick.
Can we just... I'm not going to be a dick. Can we just say no to the entire list?
It is so weird, the dynamic between the NFC and AFC. The NFC has really, really highs and really, really lows. And then the AFC has, the Chiefs and Ravens, and then a bunch of teams in here.
Yeah.
And then a few lows.
I'm not even going to lie. Out of that list,
there's not one I see rebounding.
Let's just call them all as contenders or pretenders or pretenders.
They're very much pretending. They're pretending to be football teams.
They're on life support.
So I'm very surprised about the Vikings. I think that out of all of them, if we had to choose one to dig themselves out, it would be them, just because they have a talented roster, but they have not been able to put anything together. They are desperately missing Stephon Diggs, and the defensive secondary looks horrible on that team.
No Xavier Rhodes.
Yeah, and you know what? He got a lot of flack, like that he wasn't, this all-star corner. But he had to go up against a lot of number ones, and he did a serviceable job. Now they're just getting shit on left and right. And Cousins isn't helping either. So
fucking does.
He never does, yeah. So I think this is the only team that could have a little bit of a resurgence at some point. But I've lost all faith in the Vikings after this 0-3 start. It's bad.
What little faith I had in Kirk Cousins is gone. It is.
It's
disappeared.
All right. Well, that's our 3s or 3-0s and 0s and 3s. Let's go in and let's get our what do you think? You think it's time to get our picks in for the week?
Yeah, let's muster real quick.
All right, buddy. Let me get my thingy open here. Shoo-ba-doo-ba-doo. That is not the right folder at all. This is the right folder. All right, so I actually did not break down our picks for last week yet. So let's take a look. Jaguars did win, I believe. Is that right? The Niners won. The Browns won.
Well, week 3, no, the Jags lost.
The Jags lost? Okay. Yeah, we all took the Jaguars. Bears did win. Steelers won. We all took them. Bills won that. The Titans won that. We all took the Chargers. Missed that one. The Colts got beat by the Lions, right? We all missed that one.
No. The Colts beat the Jets.
Oh, excuse me. I'm thinking the Cardinals. Yeah, the Cardinals lost to the Lions. The Bucks won. Packers. And I, of course, was an idiot along with you, and we took the Ravens. So let's take a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 wins for me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 wins for Jace. And then Andy came up the rear with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 wins. Four, 5. Now, we can't really even say too much because we all get a lovely tie in all this.
Yeah.
Fucking bastards. I hate the fact that NFL can still end in ties. I think it's stupid. I wish there was a way to just abolish it, but you can't have a game go on for like a fucking hockey playoff game where there's
Kickers
15.
kicking from the 5-yard lines on either side out across from each other until somebody misses. Instead of doing
Or a
the
block.
NHL shootout, you have a kicker duel.
Now, do you do that with opposing defense, like trying to block it still?
No.
Just kicker line up, go.
Yep, just boot them as long as you can.
That's the NFL equivalent of a shootout. I like it. All right. Do you have the games in front of you there?
I do.
All right, let's do this. Boop, 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 boop. All right. So what I'm probably going to end up doing is now that we do not have Andy on the list, I will probably pick up and just put the favorites so we can see, this is what was favored that week, and then just keep adding it to his current record.
Okay.
All right. So what's game 1?
1 o'clock, Saints Lions in Detroit, but
yeah, I don't even know if we have to ask too much on that one.
let's go New Orleans.
Yes, thank you.
Chargers, Buccaneers. Buccaneers at home once again. I believe this is another Justin Herbert start. Going to the East Coast against Tom Brady. I'm going to take the Buccaneers.
Yep, this is definitely a Bucs win. I hate to say that with Herbert, but it kind of is.
Okay, here it is, Jesse. Jags, Bengals in Cincinnati. Here comes the Joe Burrow win.
I think this has got to be it. I feel like we're doing this each week. We're just picking that one game we think Burrows is going to win. I think this has got to be it. This has got to be it.
I'm on the Burrow wagon for this one.
I'm with you.
Vikings, Texans. 0-3 teams, as we just highlighted.
If there was a game for either of these teams to rebound, somebody's got to come out a winner.
This is a crapshoot. I'm going to go just with my gut. I'm going to say Vikings get off the schneid.
I went with Texans on that one, so there's one we got different.
Oh, there we go. All right, Seahawks and Dolphins. Okay, moving on. Browns, Cowboys in Dallas.
Ooh.
Because of the defenses, I'm going to go with Dallas.
I see. I'm going to go. The problem is with that one, this is going to be a shootout game, and I just don't feel like, you know what, I am going the Browns. I'm going to pick the Browns on this one just to go against you on that. It's all going to depend if the running game can happen for Chubb and if they can control the game, the time of possession, keep them off the field. It's going to be how much can you keep Dak off the field.
Yep. Okay, so moving on, we go to the Cardinals and Panthers in Carolina. Cardinals coming off a rough loss to the Detroit Lions. I'm going to... This one's a tough one. I'm going to say the Cardinals drop 2 straight. I'm going to go with the Panthers.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm going with Cardinals on this one. I think this is going to be a rebound game for them. I think this team was better than that loss, and they just made some errors, and I think they're going to clean it up.
Yep. Okay, one of the last 1 o'clock games, Colts and Bears in Chicago. Obviously, we highlighted the Nick Foles show.
This one's tough for me because I've gone back and forth on this game so many times, and I'm starting to feel like I can't go against Foles. Like, I'm feeling like I shouldn't.
I'm going Bears 100%.
Yeah,
I think you have
I
to.
think that's what I ultimately ended up on in our family football pool. So I feel like that's what I got to do.
Yeah. Okay, so we go. Obviously, we're going to go with the Bears there. The Ravens and the Washington football team.
Yeah, I don't even know if we need to discuss that.
Baltimore. Another one I feel like we don't need to discuss.
Yeah.
Giants flying out to the Rams on the West Coast.
Once again, yeah, pretty well sure that's a Ram win.
With the Rams. Patriots and Chiefs in Arrowhead.
This is going to be a good game. I think if history has shown that the Patriots win in the regular season, the Chiefs win in the playoffs. I think this year is going to be different, though. I think this Chiefs team's come in and beats the Patriots. Patriots drop to 2-2.
I agree with you. I think the Chiefs, even with no fans, it's hard to win at Arrowhead.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Chiefs. Bills Raiders in Las Vegas at 4:00. Raiders are pretty beat up. I fully expect, and I would not be ashamed to go to 2-2 in this game. I'm going to go with
That's how I felt as well. I don't think you're going to stop this train of Josh Allen right now.
I think once again you'll probably see a reputable showing. We'll probably come out and play.
Absolutely.
Well,
yep, I agree with you. I think it'll be a good game, but I think the Bills are going to come out on top on that one.
Okay, Eagles 49ers, the 8:00 game Sunday night. Even with the 49ers being basically playing
still Nick Mullins show.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Nick Mullins over Carson Wentz. I can't lie to you. I'm going with 49ers.
Me too.
Okay, well that was easy. Falcons Packers Monday night. So here's what's going to happen: the Falcons will have a lead going into the fourth, and then it's just ESPN's camera is going to pan to Aaron Rodgers, and he's just going to be sitting there just rubbing his palms like Birdman the entire
time. Just ready to fucking go.
Be like, all right, let's fucking go. Yeah, I'm going with the Packers. Big time.
Yeah, definitely. So is that all the games?
Yep.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I feel like we're missing one. The bye weeks?
Bye weeks with the Steelers and Titans.
Well, that's only one more game. That's 15 games.
With Saints, Lions. Yeah, I went down through the entire list. We covered all these.
Oh, that's because we didn't have the Broncos and the Jets.
Yeah, we already went over that game. Yeah.
Yeah. I was initially going to pick the Broncos, and I believe you were too.
I was. Yeah, I feel like that was the consensus, just because we were like, anybody versus Adam Gase. Take the field versus Adam Gase.
That's why it looked short to me, is I forgot about the Broncos. Okay. So, yeah, we already have a win there, but yay. So, we'll mark down the favorites. I'll have those posted online, and then we'll mark down our picks as well. The overall standings. Jace, I believe you are now 20 or 31 and 16 and 1. I am a whopping 20 or 34 and 13 and 1. So, and then we'll add Andy's to the favorites list after this week. He's coming up the rear pretty hard. So, hopefully we'll have some guest stars come on every now and then. I was going to talk to my sister about coming on sometime, because she's actually kind of knowledgeable in the football department. So, definitely would be nice to have, a few extra voices here and there. But obviously you got the two all-stars. So
you have the two most intelligent and good-looking men in sports talk radio.
Even with my neck beard right now.
I got it too, don't worry.
All right. Anything to add before we close out there, Jace? Any last thoughts?
I got nothing. I really do genuinely have nothing.
Well, I agree.
For once.
I look forward to this week, even though I don't have a Steeler game to watch. There are some pretty good games on the docket, so I'm kind of excited about that. We
You'll
get to
be,
golf tomorrow.
yeah, we'll be golfing. That you're a worthless gambling pile of garbage like me. Even if the Steelers
Yeah,
aren't
I
on,
lost 20
you'll be
bucks
on
last week.
FanDuel Sunday morning making breakfast. You'll be making bacon and eggs and being like, okay, how am I going to lose my money this week?
I lost 20 bucks I bet last week. I lost a bet on a bad beat because the Washington Redskins lost by more than 7.
Whoa! They're not the Redskins. That's offensive.
Oh, sorry.
Man.
Yeah, Washington football team. Sorry,
You bigoted
old
son
habits.
of a bitch. Like I said,
Washington football
I was
team.
hot this week. I was hot betting, and I even gave you the Jeff Junk hot tip.
I know you did, and I only threw $10 in, and I was like, "Fuck, I made my bet already, so I can't." And I should have threw an extra 5 in or something to do that. So I'll be throwing $10 in, and then doing a giant parlay money line, and then I'll bitch about missing that one game that fucked up my $1,300 money line parlay. But that's what happened to me last week. I bet the spread that Washington was going to win, but by no more than 7 points, I think it was, and the Browns stomped them. I should have went with my initial thought of the Browns winning.
They were supposed to. They could have lost by less than a touchdown.
Yeah, that's what it was. It had to be less than a touchdown, and then I think they lost by 9 or something like that. I can't remember exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I was pretty pissed that I lost that one. Then I went in, did another 4:00 game money line, and lost because the Chargers lost their spread.
Yep.
If the Chargers were to go down and score, I would have got their spread because it was 6 points, and I would have won that one and won like $200. So yeah, I lost both of mine on spread bets, and I should learn not to do spread bets right now and just play the money line.
See, I've had a lot of luck playing the spreads and the over-unders and stuff like that. But
the last spread bet I have won was the LSU National Championship. And I found the biggest spread I could. I think it was 15 points, and I got it. I had a like $25 bet turn into like $150.
Well, that's called free money.
Yeah. At that point, I was like, I kept getting yelled at by Noah, who was a humongous LSU fan. You take that bet. They're gonna fucking crush them. Blah 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 blah. And they did. So I was happy.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you all for joining us. Sorry for the late go this week. We will be back on Wednesdays. I do apologize for all the delay this week. We kind of got off track with some things, but we're back. We're getting things straightened up. So we will be back on Wednesday. Stay tuned. Please go to our webpage, see us on Transistor, our host page. Find us wherever you can find podcasts on Spotify, iTunes, etc. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and then always give us a like on YouTube as well. Thank you so much for joining us. And as for Jace Junk and myself, remember to always rage on.
Rage on, fuckers.